of things. I want them to get involved so that this race could be more or less based on what people can do and their vision and their past experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Before we get to our main questioning, you said something. You want to be a source of encouragement, in other words, a source of inspiration, and at the same time, you want to be able to offer a new direction for the people of Liberia. Given where you said, which one you think you're going to achieve?
Well, I will do everything within my power to achieve both. Because you see, everywhere in the world, Anthony,
Mhm.
everywhere in the world, young people, they are the drivers of change. Young people, they have that vibrancy, they have that energy, and they have the intellect. But I mean, it's kind of confusing to me
Mhm.
that in Liberia, like I just said, since
Mhm.
2005, we
Right.
have the same people that are marching on to 2023. That has to change. And you know that inspiration, that leadership, that sense of no, we have to change track should come from somewhere. And that's the role I intend to play.
Thank you so very much, Ben. Let's get into it. You reach out to us. You want to be able to make the case against Vice President Joseph Boakai. The first question that comes to mind: why Joseph Boakai? Why the case against him when he's not the only one running? Why?
Well, you see, I wanted to be targeted
Mhm.
because you see, sometimes when you juggle a lot of balls, a lot of
Mhm.
details get missing.
Mhm.
So I will appeal to you in this public manner. Maybe next time we can
Okay.
have a case against Alexander Cummings.
Okay.
Because you see, what I want it to be targeted. I want someone who will play this video to say, no, 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 this was targeted. This gave me every reason, every available information I needed to assess Joseph Walker.
Mhm.
So the next one we can do it on any other individual that we choose. But today I want to dedicate this program
Mhm.
to telling Liberians why Joseph Walker
Hey,
should not be
yeah,
voted
I'm
for.
live. Anything?
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying that today I want to dedicate this program to informing Liberians in terms of why they should not vote for Joseph Walker. Because when we streamline our information, when we kind of uh, 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 package the information, it should be direct, it should be concise. We cannot talk about five people at the same time. We might confuse some people. So let's target one individual, give his pros and cons, then we target another individual. That's why I choose specifically Joseph Walker. The next program might probably be Alexander Cummings.
Thank you for giving us your reason. So again, tell us, what is it about Vice President Joseph Boakai that you're trying to stop?
The first thing is, this is not personal. It's not, like some people want to mention his
Right.
health. I would not do that because those are private things that that apply to him. What I would say is I would look at Joseph Walker public records, what
Mhm.
is available for all of us, and I would give Liberians the information that I think they need to to assess his candidacy. The first thing, Walker ran in in the last election.
Yeah,
Uh,
2017.
yes, he ran in that election, and strangely, my brother, this is the most important thing.
Mhm.
Walker ran without a platform. I was one of those. 3 days to the election, I was hollering. I said, "Oh, Joseph Walker has to give us some kind of vision, some kind of roadmap, some kind of sense of direction where he wants to take the country."
Mhm.
He did not. He did not say anything. The only thing he was saying at that time was, "Elect me. I'm Joseph Walker because I'm a countryman." I frown upon that because that was wrong. But the most important thing is that he didn't give us any agenda. You must have a vision. You must have some kind of idea where you want to take the country. We cannot just elect you because your name is Joseph Boakai. No, we can't do that. We have to elect you based on the superiority of your vision, the superiority of your ideas, and also the achievability. Joseph Boakai didn't tell Liberians anything. And that's why you see the result of the election showed Boakai won only one county, simply because Liberian did not know what he stood for. But I will also, as we go through this program, I will break Joseph Boakai experiences down. So I will just inform Liberians so they can make a reasonable judgment regarding him. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. So let's take them one by one. You
Yeah.
just said two things here. You talk about vision, you talk about achievability,
Yeah.
and you are saying, in terms of vision, he does not have a clear vision for Liberia. And in terms of achievability, you're not sure whether he is a presidential candidate who has a track record of achievability. So let's start with vision. The last time Vice President Joseph Boakai ran, we heard about Love Liberia, Build Liberia, and something else. Uh, don't you see that as his vision for Liberia? He wants to build Liberia. He wants to show
Ansony,
Liberia's love. So let's talk about that. Is that not a
yes,
vision?
yes, Ansony, I see that as what you call slogan. It's like a motto.
Okay.
It means nothing. When you have a vision, the vision will have what I call frameworks. It must have some sense of direction. And the most important thing here is you have an associated timeline. That is how we can assess it. But if you give us just, buzzwords, I mean, how do we grade the buzzword? How do we grade it? You see, Anthony, if I say, well, I would do this thing in this amount of time, you can come back and say, oh, Benjamin, you said you would do this in this amount of time and you didn't do it. What happened? But if I just gave you buzzword and I gave you nothing else, it leaves you with nothing. When we run for office, we must have programs, plans, and agenda by which the public can hold us accountable. That is part of what they call a social contract. You must lay out your ideas so that people can vote you in based on the superiority of your ideas. But you cannot give them buzzwords. You
So,
cannot.
so Ben,
Yeah.
you are saying that is just a slogan and that's
Yeah.
not a vision.
Yeah.
A vision has to be written.
Yes.
So, what is your vision?
Well, you can go onto my website right now. I think I'm the only candidate running in this race, and which I'm not too proud of because it is a wrong indication of what Liberia is in 2023. I'm the only candidate running in this race that has a website. If you go onto my website right now, kofa2023.org, you will see my platform and you will see the frameworks of my vision. They are there. You can read it. If you have questions, you can come up to me and we can discuss it. And that's how it should be. There should be something that you have documented where the public can hold you accountable for.
So then let's come to the achievability that you
Yeah.
also talk about.
Yeah.
Ambassador Boakai, as others will always call him, has achieved as a vice president. He served as vice president for 12 years. Somebody might think that is an achievement. He served as Minister of Agriculture. He served as head of LPMC. And I believe he served in so many capacities in our country. Are you suggesting that in all of those capacities that he has served, he did not achieve anything for our country? Or
That's
what?
what I'm suggesting. But let me tell you why.
Mhm.
Mr. Anson, I'm a hiring manager. I hire people. Let me tell you this. When a candidate come before me, when you sit before me, we look at your work experience. The most important aspect we look at is your accomplishments, what you did. I mean, the footprint, and now we call it your body of work.
Mhm.
Boyka stints at all those places that you mentioned is what I would call activities that yielded no results. Because you see, right now, the people who are supporting him, they should say, oh, Waka did this, and it is what we are even doing now. Waka did this, he put in this program, he put in this policy, and it's what Liberians are even doing up to today's date. There should be some kind of sustainability to your ideas. But if you just work at all those places, you just occupy position, and there is nothing to show your footprints, then that's what I call activity that yielded no results. So at the end of the day, Liberia paid you for giving us nothing. Let me just stress one point. Let me just stress one point here. Um, Mr. Lobo, I wish he was here last week. He said Joseph Boakai, based on the Constitution, his role is to advise the president. Let me just debunked that. If you look at the Constitution of Liberia, Article 51, it said that the president, the vice president, should assist. It's not advise. Advising you and assisting you, they are not the same thing. They are not the same thing. So I just want to get that clear. But let me just say one key thing.
But that is when the president agrees for the vice president to assist. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
no, I'm just talking about what the Constitution says. You know,
Okay.
the individual is fair enough. But let me tell you this. He said one thing that shocked me. He said Joseph Boakai has been in office for 25 years. But you know, I watched that show and it was hard for me to watch because you kept asking him, you know, what are Joe Walker plans? You know, what did he achieve? And one of the things that I will end here, he said Joseph Walker attended conferences. Is that part of the achievements? No, 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 no. When you achieve things, they are your footprints. You have to ensure that they are sustainable so that future generation can benefit from them. Joseph Walker didn't do none of that.
So, Ben, if you agree, you just go to the Constitution that
Yeah.
his responsibility primarily was to assist the president.
Yes.
So, can we say that he should be given credit? Apparently, he assisted Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the airports, the roads, the ministerial complex, and all of the other things that they have achieved. Should
I
he
want to
be
say
credited?
this. I want to say that you see, when I watched that show, my analysis was like at one point, Mr. Luba would try to disassociate, him from from UP, and at one
Mhm.
point you want to claim to. But I want to say this: owing to the amount of money that flowed through Liberia, the Unity Party government was a complete failure. Was a complete failure. Let me tell you this: 3 years in a row, 3 years, the UP administration received $1 billion from international aid agency. That's so that 1 billion, 1 billion, and 1 billion. Does Liberia look like any I mean, does Liberia look like it even received $100,000? The Unity Party government, anyone who worked in that government, that experience should not be used as anything because it was a total failure.
Ben, the folks in the Unity Party, according to their surrogates, while we continue to hear that they took the budget, when they took over, they said they took over a failed state and the budget was at 80 million. They took it from 80 million and they put it all the way to about 525 million. That's one of the things they said they achieved. They said institutions were virtually dead. They revived those institutions and even built additional institutions, they would say. Again, you said Boakai's role was to assist the president. You think he did not assist in those capacities?
Great. Now, you see, I love this. You see, Ansony, if I take a budget from 80 million to
Mhm.
almost 500 million,
Mhm.
and there is nothing to prove, there's nothing to show, then there's something. Let me tell you what happened. And this was one
But
of
they
the.
moved some numbers though,
No,
Ben.
let me tell you, sir, this was one of the tragedy.
Mhm.
What happened was the politicians got paid. Liberians got nothing. So that increment you talk about, that huge increment, it was all to the advantage of the politicians. So the numbers increased, fair enough. But what the Liberian benefit up to date, me and you are on this show. Liberia, we don't have electricity, running water, we don't have anything. So if you take something from 80 million to 500 million, there must be pieces of evidence. There must be something we can showcase. Oh, we did this, and Liberians are benefiting from it. But I can tell you why the politician benefit. Let me give you one case. Most of the guys who were in their house at the time, they were driving $65,000 cars. Some of them are still driving those cars today. So they benefited, but the people did not benefit. So it is a zero-sum game. I mean, they won, Liberia lost. So you cannot. That's a failure.
And Ben, you talk about representation that you were quoting Lobo, that Lobo said the vice president represented Liberia in China, in Japan, in America. And you are saying those things don't amount to achievement, but some of those trips, there was some return to the country. I remember Joseph Boakai at the White House when they got the Millennium, I think, compact grant of 220 million, if I'm not mistaken. He was there. He was on that delegation. Don't you think that was something that he achieved for the country?
You see, also maybe like I don't want to toot my toot my own horns on this thing because it's not about me. You
Mhm.
see, I've worked with the United Nations before.
Okay.
You see, when monies are being laid out to help poor states,
Mhm.
it's already budgeted. All you see the fanfare is just program. It's just for just PR. That millennium compact that you talk about, Liberia was heavily assisted to achieve that because at the time the whole world thought that giving Liberia this huge sum would help move the country forward. We got the money, Anthony. Anthony, we got the money. You tell me, Anthony, me, you are on this program. Show me one thing Liberia benefited from that money that you can showcase. Okay, we got the MCC fund. This what happened, and we're still using it today. You will not be able to show me that. So you see what I'm saying? What happened was there were a lot of activities that yielded no results. And for me to judge Anthony, it should be based on Anthony's body of work. It should be based on what Anthony achieved. That's why when I hire Anthony, Anthony can work for 200 different firms. But Anthony, what did you achieve there? That's why most time we call your employers. We say, oh, who was Anthony and what did Anthony do? So your employers can verify what you're telling us. But now we call the employers, Anthony worked there, but Anthony do nothing. And that's what's happening with Joe Walker.
Another thing that happened then is that during the time of Ebola, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did not travel. Instead, she sent Joseph Boakai. And you know well, Liberia got a huge support from the entire international community. Joseph Boakai represented Liberia. That's one. Another one is that according to Joseph Boakai himself, during his time as vice president, he helped to bring fire trucks to Liberia.
Okay. Okay,
And
let
you
me
are
address
talking
the first
about
one.
achievability. Those are
Yeah, I
achievable.
want to address the first one.
Mhm,
Ebola was a worldwide event
mhm,
because you see, that is a heavily infectious and deadly disease.
mhm.
Whether Joe Boakai left Liberia or not, the world was invested in stopping the spread of Ebola. So it's
Okay.
not what Joe Boakai did. The world, that's why even the USA sent a team, a contingent to Liberia. It sent a contingent there because it was in the interest of the world that scourge be addressed and
Mhm.
be and make sure that it didn't spread out. So it was not what he did. Now, number two, you talk about ambulance. Anthony, if a country received $3 billion in 3 different years and they do not have ambulance, what does that say about the management of that country? What does that say about the management of that country? It says a lot. Fire service, it is part of the duty of the who is ruling the country to protect the citizens. The fire service is one of the services you give to your citizens. So if somebody is telling me that I brought fire trucks, then I would say maybe you don't know your responsibilities. It's like me coming to brag, say, oh, I paid my son's school fees. You can brag about that. That's part of your responsibility. And I think it's a shame for somebody to say that. The government is responsible to provide fire services to the people. That's part of the responsibility.
Ben,
Go ahead.
do you agree that truth telling is a good leadership quality? Do you
Oh
agree?
yes.
All right. So let's talk about truth telling.
Yeah.
Looking at Joseph Boakai, his surrogate referred to him as a truth teller, a man who is honest. And so, to Boakai's credit, according to himself, they squander opportunities. Do you agree that opportunities were squandered? If so, can you give Joseph Boakai some credit for telling that truth?
Well, I would say no. I won't give you any
Why not,
credit.
Ben? You agree that truth telling
No.
is a good quality.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you
Okay, go
why.
ahead.
You see,
Mhm,
considering the available resources that they
mhm,
received,
mhm.
considering the available resources that they received, if somebody come and tell me so, oh, we squandered opportunity, and that same person is telling me, so, oh, vote for me to become the president of Liberia, they are contradiction. But let me tell you one thing. Let me say one thing now. If you go to the executive mansion's website,
Mhm.
I can post the link in this chat. Joe Boakai has three different CVs posted, three different CVs. One guy, I'm not saying I didn't make it. It was during Ellen time. Joe Boakai has three different CVs there.
Okay.
And let me tell you one thing. Now we're talking about truth telling. Joe Boakai said, this is his CV posted on the Executive Mansion website. I'm not making it up.
Go ahead,
I can input the link here. He said he worked as a resident manager at LPMC between 1973 and 1980.
Okay.
Those are distinct years. He put it there. I didn't make it up. 1972, 1980. But the same Joseph Boakai, tell me that he graduated from Kansas State University in 1976. There's something wrong there. I'm not saying there's a CV on the Executive Mansion website.
So what is the inconsistency you see there?
Yeah, the inconsistency. I cannot be in two places at the same time.
Why not?
Oh, I mean that is science. One person cannot be in two places at the same time. Joseph Boakai cannot be working at LPMC from 19 for that year, and the same year be attending school.
Then apparently he got a scholarship, so he have maintained his job. That's something that people do in Liberia.
No. I will tell you this. Let me tell you what I'm trying to drive at. Boakai attended a certificate program for maximum 2 months. A certificate program. But then the same Boakai, we talk about truth telling. The same Boakai now is posting on his CV that he graduated from the Kansas State University, which is wrong. It's not truth telling.
So are you saying he did not earn a degree at Kansas State University?
He did not.
So what did he earn then? What did he get?
The program that he went to was a certificate program, maximum 2 months.
So he graduated from the certificate program. Anything wrong with that?
No, listen to what I'm saying. He did not get a degree because his people had advertised him as if he earned a master's degree from Kansas State University. That's why if you look at the CV, they won't say anything in terms of the degree he got.
So you think Joseph Boakai told a lie? Is that what I'm hearing?
Joseph Boakai was not forthcoming. He was not. So we just talk about truth telling. In that aspect, he didn't tell the truth.
All right. Let's talk about another. Let's keep on truth telling here. Joseph Boakai, to his credit, also said during their term, some of the cabinet ministers were only focusing on PowerPoint presentation. They were not focusing on implementation. He said he was emphasizing implementation. Instead, most cabinet ministers were just doing PowerPoint presentation. And according to him, there were more ministers from the US or the diaspora who were paying mortgages in the diaspora. And according to him, that having to be just two of the reasons why they didn't do much. I would think that is a leader who is telling the truth, who is pointing out those things that did not go well in their administration. Will you consider that as a disqualifying issue for the presidency or a qualifying issue for the presidency?
I would say it's a disqualifying issue because you see, there is a something in the workplace we call respectable disagreements.
Okay.
If he raised that, fair enough. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you the interesting thing here. Joseph Boakai is doing the same thing now. Let me tell you why. Ansony, he has something now called arts, agriculture, road, tourism, and sanitation.
I think sanitation, yeah.
Tell me, Ansony, what do you know about any of that program? Do you know anything about it? He's doing
more than what I've heard from his surrogate George Lobo and Mr. Boakai himself. I have been asking where can I find it. And the last time, let me say this quickly, it's important. The last time I had Mr. Lobo said they are working on it and that it will be on the website soon. And he said I can count him on that. So go ahead.
Yes, but don't you find that strange? It's that we're putting the cart before the horse. Before Joe Boakai came out to say he wants to contest the presidency, because how will you weigh his candidacy? Those should be the basis to judge him. But he he said arts. You and I, but let me tell you this. Let me just tell you this. Arts. I will just go a little bit. Please give me the time.
Go ahead.
Agriculture, road, tourism, and sanitation. Let me just break it down. Joe Boakai should have told us agriculture. Liberia has available, how they call it, 11,300,100 almost 200,000 hectares of land available. The first thing is give the people the framework. We have this amount of land available in Liberia right now. We are only using 600 hectares. That's the only thing we are using, which represents 5.4 of the arable land that we can use. What I'm saying is Joseph Boakai should give us some meat. He talked about roads. Joseph Boakai didn't tell us what's the size of Liberia roads. The road network in Liberia right now is 10,600. That's a road network, out of which only 600 plus is paved. He talked about tourism. He didn't tell us nothing that go with tourism. Let me tell you something, my brother. Tourism, the bedrock of any program in there is security. When the tourists come to your country, the tourists must be safe. He must be safe. He must be able to come in and avoid any harm and go back. There's agriculture linked to that. There's welfare. You talk about the hospitals, because somebody can come to Liberia and get sick. There are so many components. We hear nothing about that. Sanitation. He talked nothing about landfills. He don't talk about how much waste Liberia produced. Nothing. But they began just say,
are you criticizing his plan? His team said it's in the works. It's in the works.
No.
Because right now they're just trying to tell you, hey, this is what is coming. It's in the works. You don't expect them to give you the statistics, don't you?
No, Ansony. If somebody is contesting for the presidency of Liberia, somebody who was sold last week as having 25 years of public service, there must be some basis, Ansony. Liberians will not thrive on slogans. Right now, the next 2 years, we are going to one of the most important elections in our lifetime. We need to have the basis. We need to have information available. So you cannot give us buzzwords and expect us to buy it.
All right, Ben.
This man have served 25 years.
All right, Ben. Another thing is that stay on the truth telling. Ambassador Boakai, or Vice President Boakai, said for the 12 years, for the first 6 years of their administration, according to him, he was being paid $5,000. Don't you think Mr. Boakai was telling the truth?
Well, I would say this. For me, I like documentation. Joe Boakai, I was able to get the budget of Liberia from 2016. That's the one that's available online. Okay. But from 2016 up to the time that he left, his office received $2 million. I don't know how many of that he got as his pay. I don't know. But I'm saying if my office is getting $2 million, Liberia deserves more in terms of return on investment. And let me tell you, that's what I am not happy when a lot of people say, oh, Joe Boakai was there. He did nothing. He just sat down there like a parked car. We cannot pay someone office $2 million and expect nothing in return. Here, Ansony, it is called return on investment. When you go to work, you put in work. That's how your employers pay you. But you're telling me this guy did nothing and we gave his office $2 million for maybe 5 or 6 years' time? That's a waste of money.
All right.
That's a total waste.
All right. Then I am a fan of plans and programs for anybody who is running for office. And I'm also about integrity and vision and achievability. These are all brilliant, things that we should look for in anybody vying for the higher office in our land. But there's something I want to call winnability. The ability to be able to win. Donald Trump, you well know, for the lack of better word, was idiotic. But the guy won. And so whatever wacky plans he had to implement them. We can talk about Boakai not having the best plan, you having the best plan. If you can't win, your plan will remain a trash can or on your website and will not impact anything. My question is, don't you think Joseph Boakai is the winnable guy here and you are not?
I would say I would say a categorical no, because you see, our world runs on numbers, on statistics. Let's look at we have to have a basis for these. Judgments.
Mhm.
Waka won. One county in the last election, a single county.
Mhm.
You know, I find it like incredible to believe that people are literally putting somebody who won a single county. So how is Waka winnable when the history tells us that this man was able to win only one county? Let somebody sell him to me. Waka contested an election in which he won a single county. And suddenly, after 6 years, this man will be able to win the totality of votes. Somebody needs to explain it to me.
So you think Joseph Boakai can win? The man who has name recognition, the man who won over 400,000 votes in the previous election, he cannot win. And Benjamin Kofa, who was never ever attempted running for office, who have now visited Liberia, I don't know how long, is going to win. Is that what I'm hearing?
Okay, Ansony.
Mhm.
Let me give you examples.
Mhm.
Macron in France, you can search it maybe after the show.
Okay.
Macron formed his party 3 weeks to the election. 3 weeks. 3 weeks to the French election. But what I'm telling you, the French people at the time, they were looking for viable alternative to what they had.
Okay.
Ukraine, the guy who won the Ukraine election,
Mhm.
he is a comedian. I'm not saying I am one, but what I'm saying is Liberians, they need alternative. They need what I call viable alternative. Let me give you two good examples. Dylan Costa. Why do people, you know,
Flog.
gravitate toward them?
Okay.
Why? Because the Liberian people, they are hungry for alternative. There is a vacuum of leadership. So these people are literally filling a void. They have no substance, they have no work experience, they have no professional experience, but because they are filling a void, the people want something different. So they will
But then,
gravitate
then
toward them.
that brings in the popularity context.
No, no, no,
All
no, no,
right.
no, no.
Uh,
No, no,
no, hold
no.
on, Ben. Let me land. You have time, bro. Let me land. So here's the thing: the law became popular in no time. Though you talk about Macron, 3 weeks, I will look it up to be sure whether 3 weeks to presidential election, this guy,
Yes.
how we have enough time to register and all that. So I put a question mark to that. But again, these guys you just named became popular. It doesn't matter the space of time in which they got that popularity. Do you have that popularity? We had a popularity in 2005, he didn't win. 2011, he had a popularity, he didn't win. It took him the third time for him to win. You just talk about Boakai, he was a vice president, and you just said he could not win. Why will you win?
That's what I'm telling you. It's not the popularity. There's a
Mhm.
thirst. There's a hunger for eternity. The Liberian people want you. Let me tell you this, my brother. The problem with us is like, the people we put forward to get elected,
Mhm.
the people we put forward, we give the voters in Liberia limited choice. We give them maybe no choice at all. The people that we put forward.
Mhm.
Did not win because he was popular. Won because the Liberian people wanted a change. They wanted an alternative. They wanted something different. That's why won. Didn't win because he was popular.
And you are that change agent, you are that change candidate, you are that different candidate.
I will tell you this. I will tell you this. My track records are there. I work for the United Nations. I work in almost every major retail corporation in the United States. Every one of them.
And how many Liberians know this,
No,
Ben?
no, no, no. That's what I'm saying. That's why this is another opportunity where we can showcase and contrast the difference. Right now, we will talk about Joseph Boakai. When people want to know me, who will come next time, you'll say, oh, who is Benjamin and what can Benjamin offer the Liberian people? Then I will give my clear vision. But for now, people can go to my website and look at what is there. Then they can form questions and queries and come to me and we can address that. But what I'm saying is the alternatives, the pool of people we have, they are limited. And there's a vacuum of leadership, Ansony. There's
All
a
right.
vacuum.
Thank you, Ben. Again, folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics. I'm always here, Ansony Sieh, the political guy here at Focus on Liberia. Our guest is Benjamin Kofa Fanel, a 2023 presidential aspirant, and he's here making the case against Vice President Joseph Boakai. It is about time for you to start placing your calls. The numbers to call, load in the scrolling text below. You will see call 605-313-6004. That is the number to call, and don't hesitate to enter the call so that you can join the conference line to be able to participate. The WhatsApp number is also there. That is the number that says 651-399-1614. This is about time for you to call. Then we will take a short break. When we come back, we will be talking about the issue of judgment and the CPP that Joseph Boakai having to be the adult in the room, they will say. So, folks, keep your calls coming. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will get to the call. So, that break right now.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia. From education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Ansony Sieh, hosting the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. Folks, we are back with you. Get your calls coming in. We will find time to get to the comments.
One thing?
Yeah, Ben, quickly, so we can go to the calls.
Yes, I also want to emphasize that while Joseph Boakai was serving as the vice president of Liberia for 12 consecutive years, he had other supervisory functions. Joseph Boakai was supervising the Liberia National Lotteries. I want somebody to come and tell me that Joseph Boakai, for the 12 years that he had that capacity, he brought this innovation, he brought this change, he brought this transformation to that institution. I want somebody to say that. I want somebody to also come in and tell me that the Liberian Marketing Association, for 12 years, Joseph Boakai was a supervising agent. That's part of the vice president's responsibility. He brought this innovation, he brought this change, and these things are still in existence up to now. Also, the Liberian Agency for Community Empowerment, he had supervisory role as part of his vice job. But let somebody come and tell me that for the 12 years, Joseph Boakai did this, did that, did that. Also, lastly, the Liberian National Commission on Disarmament, Demobilization, and Resettlement and Reintegration. Joseph Boakai had responsibilities, but we are simply asking for the footprints.
And Ben, I also know the group of 77. And are you saying that all of these institutions that are calling to you, he has played a supervisory role? He did not transform, neither improve those institutions in any shape and form? Is that what you're saying?
Ansony, nothing. Let me tell you this. You see this right here in my hand? This, I can post the link in this chat. This was a protest. A protest against Joseph Boakai because of his stewardship at the group of 77. This is a group of 77. It's a protest. A protest. I have the story here. When Joseph Boakai, he couldn't even manage a group of 77.
What led to the protest? How is Joseph Boakai responsible in any shape and form? He was just supervising.
No. That's part of his customary duties to manage this agency.
Okay.
That's part of his duty. But while he was there, let me tell you, no, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Ansony, in regard to this protest, he couldn't manage this institution. Joseph Boakai issued a statement after the individuals in that organization protested. This is the statement that he made. His office issued, he said, the protesters, these handicapped people in Liberia, they were influenced by the opposition. And that's what he said. I mean, this documentation is not me. There was a protest as his management, his inability to manage a group of 77 properly, to such extent that there was widespread protest. His office issued a statement saying that no. What happened was inspired by the opposition at the time.
All right, Ben. Let's go to our callers. They have been waiting. They have questions for you as well. Let's take the first one here on the WhatsApp number. Caller phone number ending in 7611. Let us hear you. Your name.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sieh.
Yeah.
Yes, calling in to ask Mr. Finn a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is on his profile. He carries a picture of Samuel Kanyado,
Mm-hmm.
and he states that Samuel Kanyado is his hero.
Did you call your name?
My name is Edwin.
Edwin who? Call your full name.
Edwin Jones.
Okay, Mr. Jones, go ahead.
Yeah, so Mr. Finn has proudly defended Samuel Kanyado. He states that Samuel Kanyado is his hero. I'm interested in whether Mr. Finn intends to bring that type of leadership back to Liberia, because Samuel Kanyado is a polarizing figure in our body of politics.
Mm-hmm.
The second question is, Mr. Finn was a member of CDC,
Mm-hmm.
and he helped, bring in President Weah into power. Is there some disgruntled attempt to somehow, gain power? So I'm trying to find out what Mr. Finn's motivations are. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ben, please write the questions down as we take them maybe 2 by 2, and then you can answer. Let's bring in the man, Jimmy Eastman. Jimmy, give me a moment here. Jimmy, you are live. Let's hear you.
Hello.
Yep.
Hey, Mr. Sieh, thank you for the show again. Very interesting, very educational.
Okay.
And we really do appreciate your guest, Mr. Ben Finn. Ben, thank you for coming on the show and gracing us with your knowledge. Ben, you have done an excellent job in taking apart the Boakai qualification and whether he should be re-elected to the highest office in the country. But I didn't get anything much about why you should be elected. We must agree that a president needs a strong vision for the country's future, an ability to put their, everything in perspective, effective communication skills, the courage to make unpopular decisions, crisis management skills, character, integrity, wise appointments, and ability to work with the legislature. But what is your experience? Have you managed anything in Liberia before? Have you managed Liberians? And I say that specifically because being in the U.S. and managing a well-oiled system is completely different than managing people with less education, with less system, and not used to be regimented as they are in other places. What do you bring to the table? Where is your proof, your work, your pool of work that you can display to show that you are capable of doing such things, that we can have that confidence that you will be able to be the next head of state?
Thank you, Jimmy. Excellent questions there. And please get some water, Jimmy. I think you were choking there. Ben, take this 2, and then we'll go back to the phone line.
Yeah, first I will start with the last one.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben.
Jimmy asked some interesting questions, but I heard something from from his tone, something implied that I'm a little bit disappointed. He said, he asked me, "Have you managed Liberians?" I want to say this: the art of management is a science, and maybe I will just stress this. I've worked in almost all the major retail firms in America as a manager. But I want to say this: when you specify Liberians, almost it comes across as if Liberians are unmanageable. I disagree with that. What is happening in Liberia, I will tell you this, Jimmy, is the lack of political will by the leadership to do what is right. Let me give you two examples. Ellen had so many so many audits, and those audits, they recommended people for prosecution and restitution. Those audit reports, they are still lying in the GAC files as we speak right now. So it's not about Liberians, it's about the lack of political will to do what is right by the leadership. Now, let's bring it down to our own man, George Weah. The same thing. There was a case in point a few months ago. He was asked, if people are stealing, corruption. George Weah said he has an inability to prosecute corruption because we are all interrelated. No, 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 no. The enforcement of the law has nothing to do with my brother, my sister, my mom, or my dad. You see, as a leader, you must have the capacity, the ability to enforce the law. That's what we call it, the rule of law. We're not saying go and hang anybody on the pole. No. When somebody is accused of anything, they should be sent to a court of competent jurisdiction. Whatever the court decides, the government should have the political will to enforce the court's judgment. That's what we're talking about. So it's not where you ran things in Liberia. What is happening in Liberia is the lack of will of the leadership to do what is right. Then I will go to number one. My friend Edwin asked if I was a disgruntled.
Yeah, Edwin Jones. Yeah.
I'm a CDCN, but I want to say this. I will refer him to Angola, the leader of Angola right now. He was the third man in the I think it's called the MPLA. The leader that he succeeded, they were all in the same party, but he's prosecuting that leader to the fullest. What I'm simply trying to say is that for us who disagree with how George Weah is managing Liberia, we should be giving credit simply because we have the integrity, we have the fortitude to say, no, this is not what we signed up for. This is not what was in the plan. This is not what we came to do. We see there are deviations and we disagree with them. So I think we must, you must give us some respect for what these people are principled people. We will not be there when things are wrong. We will be bold enough to say, no, this is wrong and it has to be rectified. Now, the last thing I want to say, he talked about Doe.
Yeah.
But he didn't give us any details. Polarizing, he didn't give us any detail. But I want to say this. For me, Samuel Doe remains, for me, a legitimate Liberian hero. He's exemplary. I would just ask him one thing I want him to think about, because I know he's still tuning in.
What makes him to be exemplary? Just give up two or three.
Yeah. That's what I want to say right now. Let's look at the first thing we talked about was Joe Boakai 2005, Joe Boakai 2011, Joe Boakai 2017, almost 20 years. I want Mr. Edwin to look at the average Liberian, 26 years old, the average, and tell me, Samuel Doe at that young age, he took upon the destiny of our country on his shoulders. We can talk about some of excesses, we can talk about all that, but we talk about somebody who was saying, oh, there's something wrong here and I want to rectify. And you see, that's the spirit of this endeavor that I'm doing. I want the young people to say, no, 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 no. We too can shoulder the responsibility of this country and transform it. You see, so that alone is inspirational.
All right. Ben, let's bring in some comments here. Since we don't have a caller as yet, let's bring in some comments here quickly. Let's do justice to those who have taken their time. We have Jerome Gidman, Ben, welcome. Edward Hall, Ben, you have been missing in action. That's why he's here. Fakor Klonjale, I don't know, Fakir Klonjale, what not make a case for Ben Feng? That person is asking. Like yeah, from Bele Peking, I think so. You haven't saw yourself yet. You making people to not vote for JNB. Let's go to more comments here. Like yeah, from Mianta. He was not thinking when he was agriculture minister when plenty, what is pochava, was imported into the country and the best rice, three types, could have been grown in his county. Do you know what is ano pochava,
No,
Ben?
I think she was referring to a Pusawa.
Oh, Pusawa. Okay, okay, Pusava. Okay. All right, let's hear from Ambassador R.C. Nimland Jr. Stop it, Ben. The poverty rate declined. The GNI capital increase. The maternal rate fell from 1,000 to 253 over 100,000 births to under 700. The infant mortality rate fell. Ben is making suggested statement without facts. That person said. Let's hear from His Eminent Anthony V. Kessley. My God, is he a presidential hopeful too? God, what did Liberia do to you to incur such wrath from us? I hope you can respond to that. I hope you can respond to that. Yeah, from Doric Poor. Boakai said he was a parked car and later said Ellen consulted him on all major decisions making issues, all decision making issues. Boakai said he was making only 5,000 a month. Now we know his office was receiving 2 million a year. Boakai said he lives on loan, bunch of lies. That person wrote. Let's hear from this person. How many they come in win and he took part in the same election. That person, we are not discussing comments at this time, but that's a valid question though. Let's hear from Hawa, my brother Ben. You better keep your money that you work for, I think, from the UN. We will eat it free. Please stay in the US. Ben, somebody is giving you free advice. Maybe you should take it. Let's hear from Vincent. Ben, please answer my question. Which passport do you carry now, and how long have you been out of Liberia? Will you back pass the constitution like Cummings, who lives his life out of Liberia and did not live in Liberia for 10 years according to our constitution? Ben, few comments there. Let's hear you.
Yeah, you know, the most important one I took from there was the individual who asked me what I was, you know, if I want to contest. You see, are you trying to contest for the election too? What take from that is a sense of self-esteem, a sense of lack of belief in one's own ability. I initially said from the onset, all over the world, young people are the drivers of change. So if somebody is looking at me and saying, "Oh, do you also want to run?" I mean, what did Liberia do? It is an indication of that person disbelief in their own selves. I will say this and I want to declare it. I want more young Liberians, especially so in Liberia, to be part of this race. So the race can be all about visions, ideas, policies, and programs. So it can be a substantive dialogue on issues, not how old I am, how much gray hair I have. No, of course, I want to be the president of Liberia because I believe I have the ability, the capacity, and the vision to transform Liberia. So, sir, I want to say I will and I intend to contest for the presidency of Liberia come 2023. Let me go to the other individual who said, I'm a poverty rate, I'm a decline. I mean, are we being honest here? Poverty rate decline? I mean, come on now. You see, when we are on these kind of shows, all of us, as we interact, let's be honest. And can anybody tell me that poverty rate decline in Liberia? Can anybody tell me that? So I would just say, I just think, I mean, that remark is unfair and it's unjust. Now, to the other individual who talk about passport and how long they've been out of Liberia, I would say this. I do carry a Liberian passport. I do carry that. And I think that individual should rather be more interested.
Ben, is that the only passport you carry?
That's the only passport I carry.
All right.
And I would say this, that individual should be more interested in the future of his children and their children as opposed to the passport I carry. And I would tell whoever, made a remark of, I should bring some cash and they would eat it. I will tell you this. My campaign will be based around ideas, policies. If you do not accept it, fair enough. If you like what you are experiencing, vote for what you are experiencing. But I do not intend to lavish anyone with gifts or any form of inducement to vote for me. I do not intend to do that.
Ben, the question, I think it's a statement that His Eminent Anthony V. Kessley made, that what did Liberia, he said, my God, what did Liberia do to incur this raft that anybody can be running for president? Do you not see that question or that concern or that statement offensive? I'm bringing it because it's important. We have hold on, Ben. We have democracy, right? I know Mr. Kessley, not very much, but I know him. We had him here so many times. I know that he's a Liberian who cherishes democracy. You as a Liberian, it is your right to run. And his question, he said, what did Liberia do to incur this raft? This is a man expressing disdain that you are not worthy to even attempt to run for the presidency. I found that unbelievable from a man who knows that the Constitution gives every Liberian the right, and yet he has a zero concern. What do you say to that?
No, Ansony, I think it says a lot about himself. It says a lot about nobody. It just, it tells you his mind frame. I think there's a lot of disbelief in himself. So he just, I'm projecting that. So I would not want to kind of, discuss that because it means nothing, but it just tells who he is. That he wants to be led. He wants to be a follower. He don't even see himself as competent to be part of the race. So, it is sad, but it says a lot about who he is.
All right, Ben, let me bring a few more comments here. This one from Stanley. Ben is not even qualified to contest as he has lived in Liberia for 10 years, so his own case is closed. That's one. Hold on. Somebody said, yeah, you can't even run for a classroom election for you to win. Let me look for that comment. Someone said that. I hope I can find it. Yeah, but the person said, Ben, can I even run to be a classroom a president to win? What do you say to that?
Yeah, you see, this is a tragedy, but it's one of the things that we all should, confront with positive mindset. When you see people saying these things, for me, what is showcased to me, a lack of belief in their own ability, their own capacities. You see, I will tell you this, Ansony. And it's sad for me to say that there are some people who even believe that Liberia cannot be better. They do not believe that. So, sometimes when you articulate these things, they find them like incredible. So I can understand where these remarks come from. I can understand them. But what we want to do is we want to confront them with that sense of that yes, it can be done together. One man will not rebuild Liberia. You must have a leader who will motivate the people, who will inspire them, and who will lead them.
All right.
And one thing that will be important, that leader should exemplify integrity.
All right. Anthony V. Kessely, the way he said earlier, he said no. The question is about the bankruptcy of the ideas you are peddling and the naked destruction you are brave to utter on this platform. If Samuel Doe is your leadership model, then that tells the whole story. Your response?
Well, once again, you see, you can see the attempt to, to shift the focus of this program right now is why Joseph Boakai shouldn't be the leader of Liberia. Maybe we can plan another program whereby I can come and say, oh, but let's go into Benjamin's program and agenda for Liberia. But see, this is an attempt to shift, because if we look at who he is, Boakai has nothing to offer Liberia. Boakai comes from a failed example. Boakai represents everything that is the past, everything that is wrong with Liberia. So, these people, obviously, they have vested interest. They have that, so they don't want anyone to come out here and say, no, Joseph Boakai does not deserve the presidency because he has failed. And let me just say one thing. Last week, I was shocked. Lobo came out here and said there was an achievement in terms of Joe Boakai being the first Black manager at LPMC. I mean, how is that an achievement? What did Joseph Boakai do that?
Did he really say that?
He said that. Look at the tape. I watched that thing 2 times.
In Liberia, and he talking about being the first.
That's what I was shocked. Shocked.
Well, I didn't pick that up. It's good you're saying that. We'll go back to the tape. I mean,
go back to the tape.
Lobo is too smart to say that.
And I was like, no.
I thought he said he walked away, from being, I think, a janitor, warehouse supervisor, and then up the way.
He said he rose from warehouse supervisor to managing director. Then he said Joseph Boakai was the first. Then let me give you the meeting that he said this as his word, because I put his word down. He said Joseph Boakai is the same guy. Since you are asking for plans, he will use the same plan that he used in 2017, which he had no plan in 2017. He had none.
All right. Then let's come to the final issue here. Time is fast spent on the issue of judgment. You say Imam Boakai, one of his judgment call is to be part of a collaboration. I want you to speak to that. Don't you see that as something that shows that he has a good judgment? Because there are too many parties. The rest of the parties, beside the CDC, which is a coalition for democratic change, all other parties represent the opposition bloc, and they decided, let's narrow this thing, let's come together as one. Don't you see that as a good judgment? And also staying there up to this time, don't you think that is a good judgment?
Well, I would say no.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I will tell you as a manager, whenever you sign a document, you must have read it in its totality, and you must know the implications. So, Joe Boakai signing that document on behalf of the UP shows me that he has poor judgment. Look at the CPP today as we speak right now, me and you as we speak. We have people, I'm not going to even issue a statement in terms of the deadlines of when they are supposed to, pick whoever we had the CPP. It is mired in chaos. If I sign a deal, an agreement, a pact, and it leads to chaos, it says a lot about me. Because that means I didn't understand what I was signing. Joseph Boakai signing the CPP agreement was a huge mistake. It shows that he lacks the competence, the wherewithal to make better judgment for Liberia.
What is wrong with the CPP, Ben, for which you think that is a lack of judgment?
Okay. Now let's look at the news. Let's look at the framework. Let's look at the framework of this CPP. Then let's look at what is obtaining now in the public. Let me tell you this. This is how the CPP should have been structured. This is how I think it should have been structured. Anybody vying for leadership of the CPP, the first requirement, you should give us your agenda, your plan, and your visions for Liberia. There should be a committee that should have vetted those programs. Then those people vying should have been assessed based on the superiority of their platform. Those people should have even be allowed to debate, to have dialogue. Then there should have been voting process. But look at what's going on. We're going to block voting. We're going to individual voting. We're going to party voting. There's so much chaos because the agreement it's just too fluid. You should have structures. You should have something tangible. You should have rules. Look at what's happening right now. It's a disgrace.
And then let's talk about the ability of any leader to unite. It's key. If you want to be president, you should be able to unite the country. Reconciliation is key, given our history. Joseph Boakai, at some point, I would think, saw Ellen Johnson Sirleaf as a troublemaker. So his judgment call was that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf be expelled. You talking about rule of law and how people should have the political will. Don't you think Joseph Boakai exhibited the political will to have Ellen expelled, in given the fact that he saw Ellen as a troublemaker in the party? What do you make of that judgment call?
Yeah, you see, that is one. You see, I really love you for that point. That again shows Joseph Boakai's weakness and his inability to comprehend. Let me tell you this, my brother. If Ellen violated the rules of the party, Ansony, just like you, if you join my movement, you will first be subjected to what we call due process. We don't expel somebody without giving them due process. We do not.
Are you saying there was not due process given Ellen?
There was not. I would suspect that the Unity Party have some kind of mechanism for addressing this kind of issues. Ellen should have been given due process. You can't just, let me tell you this thing. That expulsion was simply based on the fact that there was a imagination that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was not supporting his candidacy. It came out of anger, and that shows weakness in terms of his ability to make serious judgment calls. You subject her to the party mechanism, party rules, then after that, you will have basis to do the expulsion. He did it by knee jerk, and it was unfair, it was unjust. So that is one thing that shows that he lacks the ability to lead.
Then stay on judgment. Joseph Boakai, to his credit, since the 2017 election, after that election, he maintained the Unity Party, and up to now, the Unity Party is still going. No party is perfect. We know that. Don't you think that Joseph Boakai is a leader here? Is he not exemplifying a leadership quality to keep a party together?
I would say no, my brother. Ansony, no. Ansony, look at what's going on now in the disagreement with the CPP. Look at what's going on now. Unity Party people, of course, we can respectfully disagree, but look at the language, look at the tone, look at the vitriol. It shows that there's lack of leadership here. I will tell you this. Coming to Boakai, I would have told my people this. We can disagree with whoever want to disagree, but we should respectfully disagree. Look at what's happening right now. It shows a total lack of leadership.
All right, then I have two little video clips to play.
Yeah.
And then I will ask you a question after that on the issue of Joseph Boakai's judgment.
Go ahead.
Let's see if we can get
Not going to change. Joe Boakai has no fresh ideas. Joe Boakai is not able to run this country. He's a dead man walking. He's a dead man walking. And I cannot support a dead man walking. Not going to change. Joe Boakai has no fresh ideas. Joe Boakai is not able to run this country. He's a dead man walking. He's a dead man walking. And I cannot support a dead man walking.
All right. Let me fit there. Let me play the other one.
So Joe Boakai did not commit tribalism because Joe Boakai is a sadistic, unrepentant, unapologetic, tribalistic old man. That is what Joe Boakai is, and that is the only thing Joe Boakai knows how to do because he exploits tribalism. So what?
So that is Heron Pedro Costa. He is the biggest supporter now, bigger mouth of Joseph Boakai. He there on tape, his own recording of himself saying Joe Boakai cannot run this country. He has no fresh ideas. He's a dead man walking. Costa recording himself. He went live to say that. The same Costa went on to say Joe Boakai is a sadistic, unrepentant, unapologetic, tribalistic man. That's the only thing Joe Boakai knows. That's the only thing Joe Boakai does. Costa is Joe Boakai's biggest mouthpiece. On the issue of judgment, Joe Boakai has accepted Costa now as his guy, preaching is a top surrogate. When we're talking about judgment, don't you think this is a good political judgment here and the ability to be able to make peace with people and unite?
Okay. I mean, the first thing I want to say is that the tapes actually says nothing, to me. I'll tell you why. Costa now, he backs, Joe Boakai, okay? And recently, he got a degree in government and public policy. I think one of his issues, one of the core objectives should have been, how can we craft policies that will move this man forward?
Mm-hmm.
The tip says nothing about Joe Boakai. It says everything about Henry Costa. I mean, he's a disgrace, and it's a tragedy that Liberians follow him. It says nothing about Joe Boakai. Joe Boakai now is only being opportunistic because if you insult me and you come back, you will be under obligation to prove your loyalty. So that's why he just he would just sit down and just.
If you are in Joe's case, will you be demanding a public apology from Costa?
No, I would say this. No, he would not do that because he can only benefit from this. Costa now has to bend over backwards to prove his loyalty.
Does that suggest any desperation on the part of VP?
It suggests total desperation on the part of Joe Boakai, but the only thing here is that it is to his advantage.
All right. Ben, we have to leave it there. As always, it's always good to have you here. Ben is a 2023 presidential aspirant. Ben, we will take your closing statement, and somebody asked a question that I want you to also close with. You are an aspirant. You hope to run. In the final analysis, should the race come between Weah and Boakai again, or Cummins, whoever besides you, which way will you go and why?
Okay, number one, I wouldn't support none of them because they are bad for Liberia. None of them. I would not, and I don't think the race will go that way because they are bad, and I look forward to Liberians making better decisions. I won't support none of them. Okay, let me just say this. The last thing I want to say here, Liberians, please do not conflict activities with results. Boakai, yes, he has served in government for 25 years, but Boakai can showcase nothing that Liberians have benefited from. Boakai was fired twice. Boakai was dismissed twice. One for malfeasance and another one for incompetence. Boakai, as a hiring manager, if Boakai sits before me, I cannot hire him. I cannot. Don't confuse activities with results. Boakai served in a lot of capacities. At the very least, he should have footprints. He should have something. Your actions should be sustainable so that future people can gain something from there. But Boakai can point to nothing that he has done that Liberians are benefiting from for 25 years. There is nothing that Boakai can say, oh, I did this, and Liberians are still benefiting from it. Now, there is no basis for his candidacy. There is no basis. Boakai has not showcased anything based upon which Liberians should elect him to the presidency. Boakai represents the past. He represents abject failure. He represents everything that is wrong with Liberia. There is no need, there is no way, there's no basis for his election. I want Liberians to scrutinize him. Don't take my word. Scrutinize him. Ask the relevant question. Demand answers. Gone are the days where people can just be elected because they have a lot of people behind them. Liberians need to know your programs. Liberians need to know your agenda. Liberians need to know your vision. And Liberians need to know your timeline. I will encourage Liberians. The next election is crucial. Investigate, inquire, and ask the relevant questions so that you can get to know the candidates. Joseph Boakai should never be elected to anything in Liberia. He represents the past. He represents failure. Thank you, Mr. Ansony.
That was the voice of Liberia's 2023 presidential aspirant Benjamin Kofa-Fanien, who came to make the case against Vice President Joseph Boakai's candidacy. According to him, he represents everything of the past and old order, and he does not represent anything about the future and the change Liberia needs. Folks, we want to say thank you for always following our broadcast here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. This is how we will come to the end of the broadcast, but this is what I'm going to close with, and I'm going to be a little hard here on Ansony Kesali. For him to have said that Liberia has incurred a wrath, oh God, he said that because Ben is running. I know he came with a justification because his ideas are Ben robbed and his facts are distorted and all that. I don't believe that. It is a statement about entitlement. There are certain people that are entitled to the presidency, and some other Liberians are not qualified. Even for the sake of argument, is Ben is crazy. If his ideas are all over the place, the Constitution gives him the right to run as a candidate, as a citizen, to run for any office in the land. It is not individuals who decide that, hey, this person is not qualified. The way that decision is made is at the ballot box. So go to the ballot box if he's on the thing, or through campaign, make the case. But to say that Liberia has incurred a wrath because another citizen is exercising a constitutional right and you think he's not worthy enough, that is despicable, complete disdain, and should not be coming from somebody who has a record of believing in what democracy is and represent. Again, it is unfortunate, and I have to do that without any hesitation. This is how we will come to the close of this broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. My name is Ansony Sieh, and I brought you yet another exciting edition of the Hour of Politics. Ben, thank you. Thanks to everybody. If you disagree with me, that's what I love. Criticize me just I do to others. We need to hold each other accountable. That is how we can fight for a glorious land of liberty by God's command, my friend Danny Jazz will always say. Bye-bye, folks.
We all are